That's
Well,
Mole, Belgium. Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, an SV40. I never published a paper in my life. An SV40, except the transfer RNA species. In SV40 transformed hamster cells compared to non-transformed cells as a control. You've got pineapples, kiwis, grapes, and cherries mixed in with some other tutti frutti. I don't know what in the hell you're talking about.
and excuse me.
I'm a little bit tired of this kind of nonsense
Okay.
and crap.
And Gallo, Sarin et al. were Lytton bionetics researchers were your co-authors in which you combined cat leukemia and chicken sarcoma viruses to create
Let me explain.
to
Yeah,
evaluate the
we created it. Okay, we created it. Thank you very much.
leukemia
Yes, we
sarcoma
created it all.
complex models.
I'm really smart. Yes, we did it. Everything was created by us working in the laboratory. Look, just for those with some little bit of understanding of this, who care about this kind of idea. I mean, I've had a lot of things said, but I've never had anything quite like that one. There were people who thought and made postulations that, and it was not actually directed at me, this is a good one, a new one, but that HIV could have been created in laboratory experiments. There are two answers to that are definitive, conclusive, that no scientist could have deliberately created them unless he was a super genius and 10 years ahead of his time. The AIDS virus definitively existed long before molecular cloning. That's point one. Point two, we know the full sequence, the genome of HIV. It was published by our lab in 1985, and by a group from Paris around the same time. The genome has no homology to any known existing virus in the world, except SIV discovered after it. Has nothing to do with cats, has nothing to do with chicken sarcoma viruses. SV40 is a DNA virus that comes from little animals that can transform cells in culture, has no sequences in HIV. Further, we never worked with SV40 with those viruses together, and if we did, the whole thing would be irrelevant. And I think you need to begin with Biology 101 high school, okay?
These documents, including the U.S. government contracts, best explain how AIDS emerged on two far-removed continents in black Africans and gay New Yorkers by 1978. These were precisely the populations that received the first hepatitis B vaccines produced in Lytton's chimpanzees just 4 years earlier. By the way, the man sitting to Dr. Robert Gallo's right is Dr. Jonathan Mann. At the time, Dr. Mann was the AIDS czar for the World Health Organization. Not long after Dr. Mann witnessed my exchange with Gallo, he quit his most esteemed position, saying, quote, far more than a medical problem, AIDS is a socio-political imposition, end quote.
Mic was off. Imagine that, you know, but it's all true. I mean, that's what we have here. We have a bioweapon that was put out there, and the elite want to take care of some people. They want to take care of business. They want to reduce the population from the useless eaters. We're useless eaters. It cannot be disputed. That's what they think of us. That's what they call us. And, you know, to a certain extent, I guess we are, because if we're allowing people like this to come in as children amongst this flow of illegal immigrants, you have to say to yourself, maybe we are. You know, if we're allowing the Federal Reserve to shove a big red, white, and blue, you know, right up your ass, I don't know. Maybe we are embracing our servitude. Maybe we all do, even those of us that are awake. Because it's just not, people aren't getting it fast enough. They're ridiculing us more than they understand the truth. And I think what's happening is that there's all this stuff amping up, and everyone's preparing for something, and we all know something's coming. We all know it. And I think it's going to take that big event to shake a few people from the tree. Some people will never let go of the tree. They'll grab it with all their help me, hold me, give me, and that's who they are. But we pray that the world will wake up to the New World Order before it enslaves the vast majority of the populations, and people like myself will, not be allowed to do what we're doing. They're already trying to limit free speech, limit internet shows and things like what I do here. And they've been doing this for a long time because they know we're getting the information out. And it should be out. This is the truth. Our nation is not a nation of lies and deceit and deception. It was based upon the foundations of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and justice and laws. And it's a republic. It's not a corrupt communist third world banana republic. It's a absolute individual God-given rights above all. The government is supposed to protect those rights, not the other way, and not take them away. But when you have a communist dictatorship being put into place, whatever you want to call it, authoritarian, socialist, totalitarian regime, working to do this slyly, slowly, over time, tightening the screws. They put you in a box and then the walls start just, you don't even notice it. They're just creeping. They're just like the walls. Here's the room. I'll try to get a camera angle here. So here's the room, and you're in the room. Everything's happy. And then tomorrow, and the next week, next month. Next thing you know, you're like stuck against the wall in the room, and you're strangling. And that's what they've been doing up to now. I mean, that's why everyone has to work 2 jobs. That as far as family. I mean, if you want to live well, and you have some couple of kids, you have to have 2 incomes. But in the old days, the old days when I was a kid, when I was born, the average American could actually afford to feed a family of 4 on 1 income. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. It's the Federal Reserve crime syndicate, this deindustrialization, now the Cloward-Piven strategy here with these poor children coming to America. They're coming to get us. And let me tell you, amongst these people are terrorists with bad intentions and they're just going for I think, a full-blown thing. We have this Ebola threat, which is absolutely real and absolutely genuine, and I think it can go across the world. And if that happens, we know that's certainly part of this, and it's a bioweapon. It just comes out of nowhere anyway. We've already talked about it. I proved it right there. It's a bioweapon with the footage from Dr. Horowitz. So make no mistake about it. We're up against it, and we've got to fight back. Something we got to do something. Look at this regime here. Look at this. First of all, I want to show you this thing. This is just unbelievable. This is Fukushima. Well, yes, of course, criminals have hijacked our government. This is how Fukushima is going to be in 10 years. This is 200 days after it right now. Now 300 days, so it's a year. It's already been a year, right? So this is where Fukushima is right now as far as radiation. After now 500 days. It's almost 1,000 days. It's going to actually start affecting us very soon. This is at 600 days. It's already almost here. 700 days. 800 days. Almost at our shores. 900 days. Look at this. 1,000 days it touches just about. Yeah, it's right there. 1,000. It's touching our shores and going past the shorelines. So our we're being destroyed. We're being killed. We're being murdered by this radiation. This is all radiation, ladies and gentlemen. Long-term dispersal of CS-137 released into the Pacific Ocean off Fukushima. And we're looking right at it. And this is in a map, what do you call it, animation. But that's what it's projected to do. And the surface, just look at that horror. 2,000 days, it's just unbelievable. It just gets worse. It just continues. 3,000 days. This is what we're up against. We're up against poison in our water, right here. poison in the drinking water, the fluoride, the vaccines, the viruses and the piggybacks they put into the vaccines, the rising police state, I mean, it's just overwhelming, everything. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Obamacare is going to kill tons of people. The debt crisis, the economic collapse, you know. I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Someone called me that once, and I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm a positive person. That's why I do this. We have to stop this from happening. I mean, this is too much. We just, we can't live like this any longer. I'm sure you'd agree. Okay, so tomorrow night I'm going to dig into that coverage, as I mentioned earlier, and see if we can take that go into that direction. So I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight here on Truth Talk News. Looks like we're just about at the end here. I went overtime. Whoops, that's too far. Looks like we went a little bit overtime. Yeah, so tomorrow night, tune in 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com. God bless you. Have a great night. Harry Link at 9 p.m. with Death to the New World Order. See you tomorrow night.
excuse me.
I'm a little bit tired of this kind of nonsense.
Okay.
And crap.
And Gallo, Sarin et al. were Lytton bionetics researchers were your co-authors in which you combined cat leukemia and chicken sarcoma viruses to create to evaluate the leukemia
Yes,
sarcoma complex models.
I'm really smart. Yes, we did. Everything was created by us working in the laboratory. Look, just for those with some scientist could have deliberately created them unless he was a super genius and 10 years ahead of his time. The AIDS virus definitively existed long before molecular cloning. That's point one. Point two, we know the full sequence, the genome of HIV. It was published by our lab in 1985 and by a group from Paris around the same time. The genome has no homology to any known existing virus in the world, except SIV discovered after it. Has nothing to do with cats, has nothing to do with chicken sarcoma viruses. SV40 is a DNA virus that comes from little animals that can transform cells in culture, has no sequences in HIV. Further, we never worked with SV40 with those viruses together, and if we did, the whole thing would be irrelevant. And I think you need to begin with biology. That's Mole, Belgium. Proceedings in the National Academy of Science on SV40, I never published a paper in my life on SV40 except the transfer RNA species in SV40 transformed hamster cells compared to non-transformed cells as a control. You've got pineapples, kiwis, grapes, and cherries mixed in with some other tutti frutti. I don't know what in the hell you're talking about. And a little bit of understanding of this, who care about this kind of idea. I mean, I've had a lot of things said, but I've never had anything quite like that one. There were people who thought and made postulations that, and it was not actually directed at me, this is a good one, a new one, but that HIV could have been created in laboratory experiments. There are two answers to that are definitive, conclusive, that no